In this video, I am going to show you how to find the mean and the standard deviation of a frequency distribution. In both cases, we have to start by finding the class midpoints. And to find the midpoints, I will use the lower class limit plus the upper class limit and divide it by 2. And then to get the other midpoints, I'll just grab the corner of this and drag it down. So that will be all the midpoints of my class. For the mean, we're going to need to know what the data value x times the frequency is, where x is actually the class midpoints. So in this case, we'll say equals the data value x, which is this box, times the frequency, which is this box, and hit enter. And just like before, we can drag down, and we also need the sum of this. So I will put the sum below by highlighting all of these boxes here. For the standard deviation, we need to know the frequency times x squared. So first we're going to have to find x squared. Again, x is the data value, so we'll say equal the data value squared. So now we are going to take and drag that down. And we don't need the sum of this one, so we'll leave that one alone. Next, we need the x squared multiplied by the frequency. So we're going to take the x squared box here, multiply it by the frequency, which is over here, hit enter, and drag that down. And we also need the sum here, so we'll type equals sum, and we'll take the sum of all of these. Okay, so I've copied over here the two formulas that we need to use to find the mean and to find the standard deviation. Remember that n in the standard deviation formula stands for the total frequency, which is 106, and the sum of f in the mean formula stands for the total frequency, which is also 106. So following these formulas, now that we have these three columns that we needed, actually this column and this column specifically, we have the sums of those things. The mean is found by taking the sum of f times the frequency, taking the sum of f times the data value here. So that would be, these are f times the data value, and here's the sum. So we're going to say equals the sum of that, and then we're going to divide that by the total frequency, which was 106. And then at this point, we simply want to round to the proper number of decimal places, which will be 2 decimal places, since our original data was out to 1 decimal place. All right, so the standard deviation, we have to plug into this formula. So remember, n is 106. The sum of f times x squared, that's this column over here. The sum of f times x, that's this one right here. And again, n is 106. So to find the standard deviation, we're going to type equals SQ for square root. We're going to choose SQRT for square root. Now, being very careful, we're going to hit a parenthesis for our numerator, and then our n is 106, so I'm just going to type 106 in, times, the next thing in our formula here we need is the sum of the f times x squared, which is this one right here, minus, next thing in our formula we need is the sum of the f times x, and then we're going to square that, so the sum of the f times x is this one, and then we want to square it. We're going to close off the parenthesis for the numerator. We're going to divide and open a parenthesis for the denominator. The denominator is n, which is 106, times n minus 1, which is 105. Close off that parenthesis, and then one more parenthesis to close off the original starting parenthesis for the square root. So we have parenthesis, parenthesis, n, then the sum of the f times x squared, minus the sum of the x times f, quantity squared, divided by n times n minus 1. Hit enter. That gives us our standard deviation, and again we are going to make it go to just 2 decimal places because, again, our proper rounding technique.